this. And Plat
Attackers
soldier.
incoming in 30 seconds. Ready for 5, 4,
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
You have my family.
Enemies.
Adjusting
Okay.
angle of attack.
Sure. Okay. So what do you see as you look here?
Same angle as
Yep.
the DPS.
Your whole team, your DPS, your other Torb is with
Yeah.
you. He's building his turret on the same angle. This doesn't work, so I hope you're going to move. You are. Perfect.
I got a bit greedy here. I think that was a bad angle to take.
I mean, this is a fine angle right here. I'm not-
I mean, like, because I was transitioning, rotating up top on the
Okay.
bridge, and it was really bad timing. I
Okay.
got, like, dived immediately.
I guess. Are you going up bridge because you think the opposing team is going to back up and you want to be able to continue to shoot at them, or what?
I was trying to get a pick on the Ana, the supports,
Okay.
hopefully.
Okay. I'd probably just tuck back to here where I've continued to got my cover option and just go, I'm going to make it tough for you guys to push through. Like, they're the ones who have to make the play. They're the ones who have to move in right now.
Mm.
And, like, I'd be perfectly happy to get a pick on their back line. Don't get me wrong, but, like, I'm pretty happy just burning them from here. They're not paying any attention to you. If they started shooting at you, you might go, oh, I want you to forget about me, so I'm going to leave. And while I'm leaving, I might as well go up here. That can make sense. But you're not really being paid attention to. You're pretty happy. Hey, you do this. Just keep shooting. Keep shooting. Don't wander into the open this much, because now you don't really have a good cover option. Now you're turning right into your cover option, which makes your kite path out harder. Yeah, those are some quick reloads. So, like, here you are. You did this. You have 22, and you closed the angle just because you felt like it. No one's paying attention to you or anything. So what? A Zarya orb. You reload. Now you shoot again. Why are we reloading and again at 22? Like, this is an interesting habit that's coming in here. Is there not more ability to continue doing damage from right here?
Yeah, there was. I think I was probably overcompensating a bit with the reloading because I was having. I think in an earlier game I was kind of doing the opposite. Like I'd get into a fight, I'd get a good helix rocket, and
Not have ammo.
I'd realized I ran out of ammo. Like
Yeah.
before the fight ended.
So that can happen, but the way you got to think about this is you've got to just be conscious of your reloads. Your reloads shouldn't just be some mindless task. You should be conscious of your reloads. If the angle is closed on the opponents for more than half a second, because soldiers reload is quite fast, if the angle is closed for, let's say, more than half a second, and you expect it to be closed for more than half a second, reloading makes sense. But there has to be a good reason for the angle to be closed in the first place. Like, if you started taking damage, so you go, I need to close the angle so they stop hurting me, and I think they're going to keep paying attention for a second, so while the angle's closed, I'm going to reload, fine. Or if you go, hey, I'm rotating, and I want to go ahead and reload while rotating. It's going to slow you down a bit because it'll take you out of sprint, but you're going to reload while rotating because you're behind cover. Sure, that makes sense. You're behind cover. You have a good reason to be behind cover. You're rotating. That makes sense. But you're just putting yourself behind cover for no real reason here. You're closing the sight line on the opponents, and when you put yourself behind cover, you're then reloading. And I don't want the act of being behind cover to cause reload, because there's times when you're just going to close cover for an instant and then reopen it, but I also find, like, your reasons for fully going behind cover aren't very good right now. You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I would rather keep pressuring the enemy team, even if it's the tank, than going, let me reload so I'm at full power in case they come through. Well, they're never going to come through in a way that they can win the team fight if you're constantly putting that pressure on them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you say I was playing this a bit more like attack rather than a defense?
No,
Get
because I want
away.
you to keep the pressure up on the attack too. Okay. Sure.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was
Hanzo does that, yeah. So you went here. You decided, aha, I'm gonna do this. You decide not to go for the helix. It's in the air. I get it. It's hard. We potentially could have, but that's fine. And then you're doing this. Fine, whatever. But like, isn't this team retreating?
yeah, they
Is your
are.
team pushing up?
No.
So unfortunately, you're 1v4ing on my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, best we could do was stay here and fight. If we're here, we're fighting two of them because we can't help but fight the Mercy at the same time. But fighting two of them is a lot better than fighting 4, 5, or 6 of them, right? You opened
Yeah,
this thing. Go ahead.
I've noticed like a lot. I'm not really conscious of the foot like my peak timing, my corner, like uh like how you said about the kiting angle,
Hmm.
making it more difficult for myself. I noticed I do that a lot.
Right. You've made it a little more difficult for yourself to kite, but also if you're shooting at one enemy, if you can have just that enemy on your screen, that's fine. If you can put yourself in a situation where you have cover against all the enemies you're not shooting at, that's pretty good because you can't shoot at Hanzo while shooting at Echo, right?
Mm, yeah.
So you're just letting Hanzo have the opportunity to shoot at you, which is like, well, that's silly. Yeah, it's a little easier out here, a little easier to dodge stickies than it might be in here, but I'm perfectly happy to play it from here because this is I only want to fight the Echo. If I made the Echo leave, then I might open the angle further and go shoot at the Hanzo, shoot at the Eno, whatever. But if the target I'm shooting at is here, I want to put myself in a
Mm,
situation where I'm not letting other people shoot at me. And we could have said the same thing down here. Like, hey, we have this cover, and I'll find another situation where you get it. If we hold this choke anymore. Oh,
I think this it was a complete wipeout.
okay.
Yeah, because the Mercy tried to res me, and it was the momentum just went on their side. They got a
Yep,
massive push after this.
yep. So let's go here. And let me just rewind a little bit further to give a good example. So if I'm here, I'm happy to open this angle to shoot at these guys. That's perfectly fine with me because I have to. If I'm shooting at, whichever of them I want to shoot at, if I want to shoot at maybe the tanks, I can shoot from here. If I want to shoot at the Mercy, I'm going to have to open my angle to here, and I probably want to shoot at the Mercy. But I'm not going to, like, walk down here to open the angle to the Hanzo unless I'm shooting at the Hanzo, right?
Mm, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Finishing them off.
Feeling spry.
Sterben nicht. Ability increased.
So it's cool and all, but it was,
Objective
yeah.
lost.
It would be nice if we got that to land.
The payload.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we were mostly in 1v6 territory, and now you've sort of made your retreat tough. So you really staggered yourself here, and you staggered yourself here for something that was kind of low probability. Like, you're going back in. Is anyone in your team on your screen?
Nah.
And you can see there's at least 5 of them on point because you get the UI indicator that there's 5 of them on point. So there's at least 5 of them in front of you, right?
Yeah. I
You just don't take this. Like, this is a 2v5 at best. We aren't really interested. Even if we eliminate their Mercy, are we?
yeah, it's still a 4v5, 4v2.
Yeah.
I kind of realized that. Like I didn't realize. I wasn't paying attention to the kill feed. I didn't realize he got.
Stop
I think
the
he just
payload.
got killed, but
Sure.
yeah, I realized a bit too late. I wasn't really.
Even without the feed, though, you had
Yeah.
other UI indicators. I know the feed is hard to watch. You get better at paying attention to it because it's really useful information. But even without the feed, you had the UI indicator of 5 of them were on point, and you can see your teammates through walls, and none of them were in front of you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice pickoff attempt, but ultimately, yeah. I didn't really want to continue to fight that. I get it. You went for the pickoff attempt. Fine, I'll live with it. But I really did want to pretty quickly try to get myself up here because from up here, I'm going to have such a good defensive position. But that's life.
Mm.
I didn't really want to run it back up main.
Dire's barrier is out of existence.
Knock me down and I'll keep getting back up.
Need healing. I'm overloading. Need healing.
Okay.
Adaptive circuits engaged. Soldier 76.
Do you...
Adaptive.
Sorry, I'm getting a little distracted. Let me go through here. You're going and challenging this. And you're challenging it while your team is fighting, and I'm good with it. But there's one little problem. Do you really expect to consistently beat Echo Mercy on your own?
No. I think it was a bit of a waste of time to try to fight a pocket.
Yeah, no, I don't necessarily mind fighting the Echo Mercy, because if the Echo Mercy is fighting you, they're not fighting your team. But if this fight starts to go poorly, how should I put this? You've committed yourself pretty hard to this fight, haven't you?
Oh yeah. Bad
If you were
angle.
playing from like over here or something, you could probably flee. You could still poke at them, be annoying to them, make them respect you. And if they respect you, it's two of them respecting you and then paying attention and fighting you. But it's going to be very hard for them to finish you, right?
Yeah.
Whereas up here, maybe you get the jump on them, maybe you get a Helix elimination, but if you don't get that, you've sort of locked yourself into this 1v2 that is either win or go home, and I'd much prefer I'm gonna try to get an elimination on you, but I'm gonna do it from a safer spot where I'm a little more non-committal, because it's a win for me if neither of us take each other out and we're sort of both just distracted for 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds, right?
Yeah. Making them retreat. Okay.
Your Mercy's gonna come help you. Okay.
Adaptive circuits engaged. Soldier 70.
Unfortunate. So you just messed up here in terms of micro. You actually wanted to... You see what happens here? You do this.
Heal up here.
Do they still have a Mercy Beam?
No.
You have a Mercy Beam, right?
Yeah.
You actually want to use this. You just run at her and eliminate her right now, is what you do. She can still beat you. She can still obviously land a bunch of stickies as you run at her and then hit you, focusing beam, whatever. But you want to go force this fight while you have this advantage.
Good choice.
Since I got the pocket.
Yep.
Okay.
She's going to duplicate. Fine. You actually are doing just fine, and you're going to win this. Your mechanics are quite fine for the level that you're playing at here, but you sort of let yourself get knocked off, fallen off here, whatever, and kind of because of that, your Mercy goes to... Well, okay, maybe not because of that, but you didn't really want to fall down here. Oh, well.
So when you say mechanics,
I'm talking about your aim specifically.
my aim, yeah.
I could get more specific with mechanics. I mean, what do your dodge mechanics look like? What are your...
Soldier. Fire at will.
There we go. Fine. Sure. And we just have no business being down here on point right now.
So if I had not have fallen off, what would have
happened?
So if I had stayed on top, should I have rotated to that like watchtower and try to pick him off from the side?
Oh, well, you'd have finished off the duplicate, and then you'd have had to fight what was left of the Echo, is what would have happened. But say you win that or that leaves, yeah, you can shoot from here. You can try to shoot through here, you can't actually do. Or, yeah, you can use sprint and put yourself over here, and you're just going to destroy these guys from here. Like, your team gets to push mid, you're up there, huge advantage. You need to look up. Yep. There we go.
Everyone, heal up.
Okay. Okay, we're just pushing staggers. Fine. Retreat. But again, I wanted to be more greedy than this. You just wiped this team pretty hard, right? They're not totally eliminated. Some of them are still alive, but this team is retreating. You've probably got a moment right here. So what do I want you to do?
I should have. I think I would have rotated top,
Right, you've
taken
got
high
to
ground.
retake high ground because it's a little dangerous to retake high ground. You've got to go this way by and large, and this means going through what's the enemy's territory. But you've pushed the enemy back pretty hard. You just got 2 eliminations here. This is as safe as it's ever really going to be for you to take high ground. So if you don't do it right now, you're not going to get a chance.
Thank you.
And now you're not going
Yeah.
to get a chance. Yeah.
Spasiba.
I think that's what I tried to do. I tried to go from the other angle, but I
Sure.
actually no. I think what happens. Yeah, I kind of.
You're trying to sneak up and get a visor on the Echo when she goes into the sky, would be my guess.
Oh, this was a really bad ult
Okay.
right here.
Okay, so there's a Helix rocket here, right? Helix rocket. Good. She goes down, for sure. Okay, unfortunate.
Fuck it.
Yep. It's fine. You're fine. What do we... Really?
What?
So this happens.
think-
You drop your healing station for no real reason here, because I'm not convinced that you want to hold this spot. Who can you shoot it from here?
Nobody.
Yeah, maybe
bad
they're
spot.
Valking Mercy, maybe they're Echo if she challenges. I'm way more interested in dropping my healing station over here, right?
Mm,
Because once you drop your healing station, that's a 15-second cooldown. It lasts 7 or 8 seconds, and you've now committed yourself to its area of influence. So, like, you can play maybe a little on the stairs. You can play where you are. Like, you're not actually committed. You can leave your healing station, of course, but, like, we've wasted the healing station at that point. So, what I wanted to do is I wanted to look at this and go... hey, this is fine. I have Visor. I know where my team is. I can see that my team is fluxing. Okay, this is fine. I can either make the decision that I'm going to continue to play with these guys a little bit and put pressure on them, shoot the Mercy and keep her away from, her team a little bit here. Or you can go, hey, I'm going to try to go over here and Visor. Now, it's a little tough. You are going to Visor if they stop paying attention to you. My guess is that they're going to pay attention to you. Cool.
I
There's
think
no leaving.
I end up dropping to the high ground from the high ground. And,
Ouch.
Vising,
Okay.
and it was a disaster.
So
This time,
what is this in terms of engagement timing right now? So, like, in some ways you're rotating to get a fresh angle, and fresh angle means new pickoff opportunity. Fresh angles are more powerful. But what is happening right now? What is your team
it
doing?
was a team fight.
There's a team
There's
fight
a
and your
team
team
fight. I
committed
completely
flux.
missed.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
your team committed flux. This is a big, like, when your team is fluxing, grabbing, shattering, beating, you could use that time to rotate, I suppose, but that's, like, the time that you want to be fighting, that you want to be doing damage. I'd much rather rotate while my team is spending Rhine Shield, while my team is doing gentler trades like Reinhardt swings, Maywalls, that sort of thing. Right now, I really want to be fighting, right?
Mm.
Because, like, that's a big thing. Your Sigma is going to lift and slam people, and he's going to do at least half damage to however many people he picked up, right?
Yeah, I didn't even in the game. I didn't even realize he was
Ulting?
ulting. No.
Got it. So you want to listen for those ult voice lines, because anytime you hear one of your teammates' ult voice lines, it's usually a pretty good sign of if I'm not already pushing, I need to be. Like, you want to sort of get into action as quick as possible most of the time when a friendly ult is going off.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. This is a disaster.
So this would be kind of cool and like, aha, I'm behind you, except that you've now lost 2 people, they've completed a res. Like, wait a second, this could have been cool if you'd hit this, like, while the flux was going off, maybe, but the timing is just, this fight is already gone, so now you're trying to ult to get back into a lost fight.
Yeah, I didn't even realize the fight was that lost. I
Yep.
thought that was a massive waste of time, that rotation.
Yep.
Massive.
Especially
Yeah, I
because the
kinda-
place that you ended up, you could have literally just been like, aha, jump sprint,
Yeah.
fall, like...
I find it a bit hard to
Knock me down and I'll keep getting
keep
back
track
up.
of all the different, keep track of the enemy sounds
There's
versus.
a ton of things going on in Overwatch. It's a complicated and deep game. That's part of what makes it so fun, but it also does mean there's a lot to track, for sure. You sort of have to train yourself one step at a time, though, right? Like, you're gonna have cooldowns that you care about more than other cooldowns. Like, if you're a soldier, for example, you probably care a fair bit about Hanzo's Sonic Arrow, right? Like, that's something that bothers you because if you peek while his Sonic Arrow is up, you potentially get headshot. You're potentially peeking Sonic Arrow, that sort of thing. That probably matters to you a little bit more than his Storm Arrow does. It becomes different if you're challenging him at close range, but in poke battles, that would be the case, just as an example. Or you care more about, hey, can an Ana self-heal herself? Or, hey, you care more about, hey, does Hog have hookup? The cooldowns that are relevant to you, you'll track more, and you just build out sort of a couple cooldowns at a time, what you're tracking. But ults are an easy one. Ults are an easy one in terms of when you hear the voice lines, you do have to pretty quickly learn to distinguish between friendly and enemy ults because they have different voice lines and what those mean. Because when you hear a friendly ult going off, it's usually gonna be that push time. And that's a pretty big signal of power that you've got to be fighting during. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense.
Okay.
Dein Schutzengel ist da.
Okay.
Come here, get stabilized.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
Okay. You push out here. This is mostly lost fight territory. You're gonna try to force your way out. Now you've potentially got it.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
Patched up. Anyone need some healing?
Not quite sure what that healing station's for.
Feeling spry.
Sure. Good.
Necessity.
And then you change the angle. Great. Perfectly fine. So where should you be playing from right now?
Probably high ground.
You got it. Let Reinhardt handle the cart. You should go take high ground. From high ground, you can decide, hey, I can poke at these guys at the way in. I can poke at these guys at the way in. I can see Echo coming over. I'm also denying a rotation that the opponents could take in if they somehow got high ground or something like that. And also, if the opponents try to push through here, which is a very common rotation, you're going to get to shoot them in the back. Their support line will potentially be exposed to you rather than having to shoot at their front line as they go to point there, as well as, of course, giving you the ability to shoot, rotate over here and shoot at them as they try to rotate across to point. So, yeah, high ground. You got it. Not this. Okay. Nice that the Ana's typing. Okay. Little unfortunate. Hopefully you can distract these guys well enough to let your McCree do work. Sure. Good. Don't drop. Great. Great! Little helix into an elimination. Exactly what we want. Okay, so I get what you're doing here. Here we are. This is good. Great. Drop your healing station right here rather than right here. So, and the reason that I want you to do that is it's a little hard to see, but where does your healing station end, do you think, right now?
Probably where McCree's gun is.
I wish. I wish
not
your
even
healing
that
station
far?
was that big. No. No, your healing station is probably going to be ending more at like the top of the stairs, maybe just what one step past the top of the stairs would be. So I would like your healing station instead at the top of the stairs, so you can still go get healed when you've ducked behind cover down on the stairs a little bit, but you're also still getting healed, admittedly with full health, while you're shooting from here. Does that make sense?
Mm,
I want your healing
yeah.
station to both heal you while you're behind cover and heal you while you're fighting in the open. So you might retreat when you drop the healing station, but try to drop it early so that you can then retreat further into cover, get healed up, then go back up and still be getting 4 or 5 seconds of value out of it, even if it's healing you while you're at full health of, hey, I've got healing, I've got pre-healing, whatever, while you come out here. Then the second thing
I've
you run
got you
into
in my sights.
is, hey, we've popped this tack visor, isn't that cool? Except that when you pop the tack visor, people instantly start reacting. And you might be popping the tack visor going, yeah, I know, and that's why I'm popping it now, so that I don't get hit by any instant sleep darts, road hug hooks, etc. Except that's not really true because they've got more time to find you with those things, and they've got more time to turn shields to deal with you, and you're less likely to find something because they're immediately going to start rotating to cover when they hear it, and your visor is going to get less value if they've had more time to rotate to cover and put their countermeasures in place, right?
Yeah.
So I actually do want you to pop your visor when you have the sight line, not running into the sight line. And I noticed you did that last time too. So that it gets the job done.
60 seconds.
Cool.
remaining.
This is not your time.
I'll keep you here.
Thanks.
Sure. Okay.
30 seconds.
You could.
remaining.
It's a legit play.
It's bad.
This is a less
So-
legit play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I have just gone straight for the mercy?
Yeah, here you had to go for the mercy. It
Yeah.
sucks, but you had to go for the mercy and say, hey, I think I can eliminate her, and then sprint in time. And yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so remember, he's got 225 health now, so it's going to be harder to burst him down. And he's got mercy healing, which means if you don't take him out instantly in his wake up stunned animation, he's going to then flash and eliminate you. Like, this is, yeah. That's exactly what I expected to happen.
Yeah. How much would you say my aim is holding me back in terms of getting quicker eliminations?
Your aim is not
I think-
not what is holding you back right now. Your aim is perfectly fine for a plat or even a high plat level soldier right now. Like, that is not what is holding you back right now. You could get away with this aim in diamond if you had to. But what's being held back is instead, okay, you're missing the team fight. And again, rotating during a team fight, during the early parts of a team fight, or when a team fight starts to turn against you and you go, my only way back into this is to rotate to open up an opportunity for a pick, is not necessarily a problem. But, like, you are just not putting pressure on the enemy team for reasons at times. Like at the beginning of the game on first, where you just were like, hey, let me do some reload spamming here. And it's not even the reload spamming. It's like it is the reload spamming, but you're not putting pressure on the enemy, making it hard for them to rotate in. Or then some of this like, yes, we're fluxing, and then we're not shooting at the enemy while we're fluxing. Or you're doing this rotation during the heart of the team fight. Or you're not taking high ground to make it, again, hard for them to rotate into your team. That sort of thing.
It's making it like really easy for them to get a push, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, they should feel like they're pushing through a sandy, like, they should have to be pushing through resistance the whole time, a sandstorm, whatever, when they're pushing, and it's just not the case for you right now. Yeah, see, you almost took her out right there. What's that?
Every moment I'm wasting, like if I'm rotating at a bad time, I'm wasting time that could be spent.
I don't want to
pressuring.
put too much emphasis on that because, yes, that one rotation was really bad, but I don't want you to feel like you can never rotate during a team fight because your soldier, your legs. Legs is really fast at rotating. But I do want to put some emphasis on, like, hey, wait, you won over here and you didn't go take the high ground, which just made their push harder type thing. Or, you did the one here that was good where you went and did stuff, but you took the bad fight with the Echo when they had the pocket, for example. That's a problem. Or you're here, yes, this was the bad one, where you went, like this, and then went over here and visored during the flux. That was the bad one, but I don't want you to, like, too hard lock that in your mind because rotating in a team fight can be appropriate, and you've found yourself getting picks before by rotating in a team fight. It's an understanding of the timing of when to do it and while ulting is
Come here
not.
and
Like,
get
you wouldn't want to
stabilized.
rotate right now because your Reinhardt just hit a shatter, and you know that. You also wouldn't really want to be here right now because you did this.
Mm.
Okay, fine. You decide that you have to touch point. I'm not sure I agree with that decision because I see that your Reinhardt is right through the wall and the numbers haven't shown up yet. Do you know what I mean by the numbers on the cart?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. If the numbers had shown up, sure, go contest the cart. But right now, I don't think you want to be here because
So
you it
does it
Mhm.
only like show up the numbers when they have like 3 on point?
No, no. Sorry, not that number. The distance. It'll show you when
The
it's, I believe,
distance, yeah.
5 meters or less. It'll show you and it'll start doing a countdown on the number bar. So, like on the, or not on the number bar. See, you see the red bar going across the top of your screen and how there's that
Yeah.
blue arrow. You'll get a number of how close it is to the blue arrow. It'll be like 3.88 meters or something, and then it'll go down to 3.87 meters. Obviously, it goes down pretty fast because that's not a lot of distance, but it will be going down. If you saw numbers, you'd probably want to run to point and stop it. Because you don't see numbers and you see your Reinhardt is close, I would much rather my Reinhardt stop it because it's going to take these guys, even if all of them pay attention to your Reinhardt, longer to eliminate your Reinhardt, and you can potentially get a pick while they do that, than vice versa. If they instead all try to
Mm.
eliminate you, they're going to do it quite quickly, and is your Reinhardt likely to get an elimination while you do that?
No.
You guys are kind of flipping jobs, right? So like,
Yeah.
don't. Now, fortunately, he had Shatter, and in this case, maybe you knew that, and when I want to be bait, I want these guys to pay attention to me, then I'm going to trust that they can't really, really quickly eliminate me, which in a higher game they would, and he's going to hit the Shatter, and they're not going to block it because they're looking at me. Maybe that's what you were thinking, in which case good, but that's not usually the standard here. Okay. Let's look at this.
Come here and get stabilized.
Great.
Tactical necessity.
Great. Sure. Get the reload with 6 ammo, I'll deal. Sure. Mercy should stall this long enough, and this oh, Sombra's still up. Okay.
Yeah, we lost this.
Yep.
I feel unstoppable.
Right.
Fire at will.
So,
Okay.
do you think I would have gotten better value staying on the left and trying to maybe push from just holding that angle, or where would have been a good position to hold?
Yeah, you'd have just stayed here. You'd have literally just stayed here and shot from this doorway.
Yeah.
While your Reinhardt stalled point, and they turn to look at your Reinhardt, and if they turn to look at you, you can potentially close the angle, whatever. You can drop a healing station right here, and then your healing station heals you while you're shooting, and it can heal you while you're here behind cover. In this case, it worked out sort of okay, because again, it caused them to somewhat look at you, which lets your Reinhardt get a nice shatter, and you got a couple eliminations during the shatter, but then you weren't quite able to hold out. You lost one of the people that came back as a respawn too quickly, then your nanoed your Mercy, and your Mercy clearly did not want to fight with it, which she needed to do. You guys actually had shots if either that person who came back had survived longer, because then they'd have gotten the nano, and it should have been easy for them to survive longer, or if your Mercy pulled out her blaster and potentially went, I'm going to go take out Sombra, which would have been perfectly fine. But hey.
Let's get you back in the fight.
Great.
Tactical necessity.
So, you kind of do the same thing here where you go, I gotta go to point, and you have a Zarya up, you have supports up, your Ana's already on point, you can shoot at, you're probably not going to take out the Mercy, but you can shoot at the Sombra from here to try to make her leave, force Translocator, shoot at the Ana to try to eliminate her, or force nade, whatever the case may be, and instead you're like, no, I want to go here. If you're here, and they back off and you can't see them anymore, great. I'll start shooting at the ball. Great. Or start shooting at the Mercy. You see what I'm saying? I don't need to go here. Where now you're just in the middle of the team and anyone can shoot you from all sides. We don't really want that.
Yeah, the whole line of sight.
Yep.
I think I was too committed to the Ana kill.
Yep.
And
You're just in chaos there, though, and that honestly should have been you guys' fight, but unfortunate. Okay. Sure. Good.
Apagando las
Sombra.
luces.
Got it. Whoa, 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 whoa. What are we doing?
Apagan.
So, like, you back out here, and I'm good with it, and you go, I'm going to try to protect my team. And you could say, I'm going to try to protect my team with Visor. I could live with that right now. That would be perfectly fine with me. You could also say, no, I think it's a dead fight, whatever, because too many people got caught. Up to you. I'm going to live with either. But I'm going to then play from here. Why
Yeah.
would I walk up here? Like this doesn't make a lot of sense. You've just taken away your cover option. Now your cover option is sort of this, but this is kind of lousy cover as the opponents walk their way up here, and like this isn't really good. You put yourself closer to a Reinhardt, you drop your healing station in a place where you can't really pick how it's used.
I've got you in my sights.
And we don't just like spearhead into the enemy team while visoring like this. Like
Yeah.
again, this would be a thing where hey, visor from here to protect our team as best we can during the EMP, so that their team doesn't want to push during their opening, their huge opening that is the EMP. That's potentially got some value. Or if you were hitting a visor from over here, sure, but no, not like I'm gonna hit visor and then just walk into the enemy team, because visor doesn't increase your defensive strength at all.
Yeah, I was hoping to catch the like while the tanks were pushing, I could get their back line.
Everything can be
That was-
hacked. And everyone.
Okay. So now you're playing Sombra 76, I see, instead of
Beacon
Soldier
in
76. No, I'm kidding. Okay, let's see what you do.
30 seconds remaining.
Miss me.
Odds for the ball.
Yeah. He was stressing me out.
Okay. The irony is Soldier does a really good job of handling Ball. Ball is not happy because Ball has to get most of his healing done by health packs, and Soldier just does a lot of damage and doesn't have much trouble hitting Ball, and Ball doesn't really do a great job of soloing Soldier unless Ball can keep
Really?
finding the Soldier while he's distracted. No, I mean, Soldier just does so much damage. Like, Soldier does so much... Go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of always get. I feel like I'm not getting enough value when I play soldier against bull, but maybe I'm thinking
Put more damage
too
into the
much.
ball then. Like it's not hard for you to hit ball. It's not hard if ball tries to stay. Like you force ball to leave really, really quickly as soldier. Um, it's not like you have a flash or a Mayfreeze or anything like that, but the ball takes a fair amount of time to heal back up because ball has to go find health packs, because ball would like to be staged behind or to the side of your team, separated from their core, which means okay, if they're doing that, it's harder for their team to heal them, except in the middle of the fight, and in the middle of the fight, well, you know your damage is higher than the healing they receive. So yeah, soldiers, I wouldn't feel any need to swap up a soldier to counter this ball harder with Sombra unless you're just doing, crushing it. Now, obviously, can a soldier plus tracer gang up on you and crush you? A soldier plus Sombra gang up on you and crush you? A soldier plus Echo gang up on you and crush you? Absolutely. Of course, these things can happen. But he doesn't super quickly take you down. You have a healing station. Will he try to knock you out of your healing station? Of course he will. But, like, you can sprint your way back in. Like, it's not that bad of a matchup for you at all. I wouldn't feel a ton of need to swap for this. But, if your team is going, oh, the ball's wrecking us, sure.
I don't know. I've had a few matches where I just get like completely wrecked by bull, but like it was as
Sure.
you said. I kept on getting like he kept on finding me when I was distracted and
Yep,
like in the middle of the team fight and just
exactly.
wiping me out.
And that's what he's going to do. He's going to notice when you use healing station, and then he's going to make a mental note of that, and he's going to come bother you 6 seconds later. That sort of thing. Or he's going to be like,
Mm,
"Oh, I saw you use healing station and that. You don't have healing station or helix. Now I'm going to come bother you." Or he gets a roll through to make it look like he's going to engage you, and you go, "Okay, I'll plant my healing station and fight you." And he just keeps on going, and then he's like, he's made a mental note. He'll be back when his tether is off cooldown, which will be 4 or 5 seconds later. And guess what? Then your healing station either is a second or two from being gone, or if he waits an extra second or two, is just not there, not available for a good 7 seconds, right?
mm.
So,
Yeah.
like, he'll mess with you, don't get me wrong, but if you're conscious of him, if you're like, he's going to mess with me when He's going to mess with me when I'm not paying attention to him, when I'm tunnel visioning something else, that's fine. But if you go, hey, I'm going to lightly put damage into other things, and anytime he shows up, I'm going to make him unhappy by putting damage into him, he's not going to be able to stay into fights at all. You do way more damage to him than he does, right?
Mm.
Okay. Okay. So this isn't amazing. I look at this, and I'm okay trying to do damage, but I'm just not sure why you're walking on this, because you're walking at a Kree that's almost certainly going to flashbang you. Like, this is not
Yeah.
really a thing. And then, yeah, Anna's the right hack after flashbangs off the ground. I don't mind that, except she gets the nade off in time, and now you're just done. Close the angle. Okay.
Be right back.
10 seconds remaining.
Sure.
Hey there.
Okay. So that was probably you need to take a little more awareness of the situation of, hey, you can play from here.
Hey
If you're going
there.
to play from here, this is fine, but you can't really play from here without checking right. Like, you're stealthed. Why would you unstealth without checking to your right? I expect that there's enemies back there. I know at least Mercy is back there based on the beam, but I expect that there's other enemies back here too, because I'm looking at Reinhardt on the side. If I'm looking at the side of Reinhardt, he's probably got friendlies behind him, right?
Yeah.
So if I want to shoot Reinhardt in the side, that's perfectly fine, but I'm going to do it from here. I'm going to shoot Reinhardt from the side where I've got cover against his friends. If I walk out here, I'm not going to shoot him in the side unless I first check what's going on here, because I don't want to get flashed, naded, shot, slept, all those bad things. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Cool.
Would it have been a good idea to maybe go for the Sombra as well? Like, instead of trying to fight the Rhine?
Hey there.
Because, I mean, he's nanoed. He's got, like, isn't it 50% damage reduction?
He does. He does have
Anyway.
50% damage reduction. Sure. You could have shot at the Sombra instead. Sure, I thought you meant from a hack perspective would have made sense to go after the Sombra, and I'm like, only if you think she's about to EMP by and large, because her positioning isn't like bad or something like that. She's not vulnerable to your team running her over. But yeah, you could go after the Sombra instead. You're gonna do more damage to her. I just don't know how much of an angle you're gonna have on her, because again, I'm gonna need you to shoot from back here, and if you're shooting from back here, you probably just have to shoot mostly at the nanoed Rhine, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this was, I got really flustered here. I'm trying to
Yep. And you just need to not. Like, you need to go, hey, once the ball's aware of you, this is fine. You didn't get the hack off, whatever, so you're going to go, I'm going to fight this. I personally don't want to fight this here. Like, it sucks, but Ball's earned this spot by getting rezzed here. Mercy earned this spot for Ball, rather. And you're in that bad situation we don't like of you're between two sets of the enemy team, right?
Yeah. No.
And we don't want to be there.
I probably should have respected his space.
Right. You just tuck back over here and start shooting at the team again, or you wander over here and come sneak up on him again and then hack and fight him, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't think they got the hint.
And there's no reason to go for that hack there. He's already paying attention to you. And he's not stuck in a reload. If he's stuck in a reload, sure, go for the hack. But
Let's get started.
Yeah, I think I do that a lot. Keep on,
trying to hack.
well, trying to hack, but like trying to, like, not respecting, over engaging, like just trying to take space, which is already lost. I'd be better, like.
Yeah, we saw your Sombra just walking at them there where it was tough. We've seen your soldier just try to spearhead his way in with Visor a couple times there. You do have a little bit of that going on. We've seen you, I remember on the cart, pushing with or ahead of your Reinhardt when you dropped off the bridge there. Like, it's not really your place with these heroes to do that. If you want to do that, you get more into, well, tank territory, a little bit of Reaper, Doomfist territory, May territory, that's, that sort of thing. And honestly, even those heroes would like to take
Ready for
angles
battle.
and still let, oh yeah, go pay
Honor.
attention to my Reinhardt,
Not
my
what you
Orisa, my
get.
ball while I go do this.
Why didn't you tell me?
You
Mm. I have a question for you.
Attackers incoming.
Sure,
Have you
sure.
ever
Defend
coached
objective
someone
A.
with ADHD?
Um, Probably just because of the percentage of the population that has it, but and based on the number of people I've coached and the percentage of the population, the answer is probably yes, but we haven't specifically made a point of talking about it. No.
Do you think that's something that might be a bit worthwhile to? Because yeah, I'm not sure. Like I find it's a bit like, for example, in this game,
Mm-hmm.
I was not on my medication at the time,
Sure.
and I noticed I do a lot more of the over engagement when I'm off, like when the meds aren't active,
Okay.
and so sometimes it's a bit difficult for me to kind of like I understand the concepts. It's like my execution, my maybe macro or micro, I forget the
Mm-hmm.
specific term, becomes like progresses to become less like I know some of the stuff, but at the moment I don't have any as much. Like I have less awareness, less
Sure. No, it's
probably
easy to
impulse control.
say tunnel vision on one
Yeah,
thing you're doing, like your aim, like I'm trying to eliminate this echo, and it becomes harder to go, oh, wait, let me think about this from a macro perspective of what does the team push situation look like, or wait, am I walking into around a corner and I'm going to get blown up by three people, right?
yeah,
Yeah, no,
exactly.
I get it. It's tough. It's tough. Whatever your situation becomes, though, we sort of have to build good habits. Like training your aim is
Yeah,
something that's constant that you want to work on, and then we sort of build good habits, and your habits sort of become your autopilot that carries you, and then you can use your active brain for something else. Maybe that's training a new habit, maybe that's making more tactical decisions, but if we make the habit of when you press the Q button, you don't press shift and start running forward, like we can break that as a habit and make that as just a thing that you don't do. We can make it a habit if you press the Q button when you've opened the angle, maybe before you've given yourself away, maybe after you've already been firing for a bit, but the times that you use Q are, when you are on and off angle on the high ground on the bridge, for example. Like that's the type of time that you use Q. And then if we make that a habit, it sort of should be, even if you're, I mean, I'm not your doctor, but it should be a situation where even if you are off your meds or, you're between doses, whatever the case is, starting to wear off, whatever the case is, you should be in a situation where, hey, could it still fall through? Could it still happen? Absolutely, but you should have that autopilot that's just sort of running. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
Okay.
get this party started.
Sure. Sure, this is good.
Biotic.
Okay, you've got 23 ammo left, 22 ammo left. No, Zarya's maybe starting to pay attention to you. Ponzo, maybe? Yeah, okay, so we're closing the angle, maybe? But, like, your angle's not closed yet and you still have ammo left. Until this angle is closed, I probably don't want to reload, right?
It was a bad reload time.
Okay,
Like if he'd gotten a shot, his headshot in, I would have been
right.
defenseless.
Biotic field activated. That's better.
Yeah, I'm doing exactly the same thing.
Yep.
Not putting enough pressure on.
Right, and it can
Right.
be tough if they're paying a ton of attention to you here. It can be tough, but if you can get them to pay a ton of attention to you, them paying attention to you, even if you're not doing a ton of damage to them, is pressure because it should mean that if two or three of them are constantly paying attention to you, that this gets easier to push through, right?
Yeah. It'd be opening space for my team.
Right. So,
Say, I could have done that again. I probably would have played that corner, like that back corner,
mhm.
like harder and just keep on firing bullets.
Sure, and
trying
you're
to
gonna
put as much pressure as possible.
peek and repeek at some, but the one thing I'd want you to be hyper aware of
Yeah.
is the Hanzo Sonic Arrow. Because remember, the Hanzo has a Sonic Arrow, and I don't want you to accidentally peek. Oh, look, you're Sonic Arrowed right now. I don't want you to accidentally peek a preloaded headshot, peek a Zarya right click plus a Storm Arrow, that sort of thing, peek, whatever, a Sleep Dart, whatever, because they see you peeking it sort of thing. So, yes, I
Does the
want you...
Sonic arrow like make a noise, like a specific noise, different to the other arrows?
Let's get when he fired his Sonic Arrow. Okay, so let's get a couple Sonic Arrows here. Oh, we rewound plenty far enough.
Deine Göttin ist da. Schaden verstärkt.
Okay. So that's Sonic Arrow from his perspective. You're in it. We'll wait to when he fired it.
That was it?
I mean,
No?
basically, yeah. So you're not going to get much there. You kind of have to be conscious of the cooldown. You have to be conscious of when you see it type thing. You have to be conscious of you haven't seen it in a while. That's what he gets as part of his kit. And the reason you want to be conscious of it is you don't want to walk in dead shots. That doesn't mean you can just be like, oh, he might have Sonic Arrow, I can't ever peek, because you're gonna have to peek. You're gonna have to get value. But like that is his tool for fighting, what makes him good at poke battles, that sort of thing. And you're doing this peeking without a shield here, which is appropriate. I'm just saying, hey, that's what we want to be conscious of.
That happens to me a lot. Just get I'll see from the kill cam I've been Sonic arrowed.
Yep.
And yeah, so just be aware of the cooldowns and when he's probably used it.
Right.
He'll probably use it. Will he be more likely to use it like when I'm on the whole team, or just like groupings?
He's more
of,
likely to use it on you if he's good. More likely to use it on off-angling you, which is fine. I mean, that means that it means that you're tanking that ability for your team. So be it. Okay. Sure. Good idea. We don't need to fight it anymore. Now we're going to fight Tracer. Oh, that's a bad reload. So you do this. This is fine. You're going for your pickoff attempt. And then you properly realize that, wait, a lot of them suddenly paid attention to me, and you saw your team isn't that deep in, so let's close the angle. So this is good, but you've got more than half a clip, and you decide with this Tracer in front of you, and you know this Tracer's back here, he was messing with your sleeping friend earlier, that you decide to go into a reload. And this is a problem.
Mirror gets stabilized.
Okay.
Powered up.
Okay, Reinhardt's on your screen. Reinhardt is right in front of the other Reinhardt, so they should be fighting. The team should be fighting right now. The opposing Mercy is Velking, so you're going to go for a pickoff, and you're going to fight. Okay, I don't know why you opened this angle so far, though. We look at this. This is good from right here. Boom. But why not continue to play from right here with this cover, like, half on your screen? If you want the Anna, so be it. That's fine. Play like this. But you see what I'm talking about? We're like, it's so much easier to play from here than what you're doing, which is, aha, I'm going to go here. Oh, okay, but like, you're now stuck fighting a Mercy boosted Hanzo and Anna, Azaria, the Mercy. Like, you can obviously press shift and sprint away, but like, you don't actually control whether you live or die here.
That is a really bad angle.
Yeah. I mean, it's powerful. You're behind them. We like that, but
Could have played it a bit more conservatively and get like ensure survivability. Like if the team was good, I would have been picked off
absolutely,
rapidly.
absolutely. Sure, her Valk is over. Let's try and get off point. There we go. Okay. Sure.
You reckon I should have taken that high ground? Better idea.
I probably don't need you to take the high ground. I'm probably actually okay with you pushing up over here, because you're either going to catch people that are retreating or trying to push back in, and the 4 of them on point already have this. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're good.
Yeah, yeah.
I probably want you over here going, can I soften them up? If you soften them up, you might get picks. You might eliminate someone trying to retreat that would have otherwise gotten out. You might soften people up that were coming back to make the decision of whether they were going to contest or not, which causes them to not contest. Or it may cause them to be further delayed and having to get healed, that sort of thing, before they can contest the point after unlock, so you might get deeper into second before they can fight you.
What about like rotating to that area to try and pick off anyone trying to push?
Rotating to which
Before the
area?
point? Like you know the area you showed me.
Oh, sure.
That
Like if
Yeah,
you
like that
rotated
area.
yourself up over here or something.
I mean, like, so trying to hold that angle, like,
Here?
let's say maybe the point isn't one.
Yeah.
Like, there's 3 people on point and there's 2 people from the enemy team.
Still
And,
on
like,
point?
trying to pick off people trying to get back to point.
Yeah, I wouldn't leave a 3v2 to do that necessarily. Fights are
Yeah.
mostly in the 1 category when you go up by 2. That's not completely true. Situationally, it depends how many resources do both teams have left, what ults are available, what does positioning look like. But like your sort of rule of thumb is if we're up by 2, so if it's a 6v4, we've probably won the fight. And if you leave a 6v4, now it's a 5v4, and have you won the fight anymore?
Not a done deal. So
Right.
maybe if it's a 6v3.
Sure,
I'm guessing.
6v3, you could potentially do that on, but I'd probably just go, hey, let's quickly, like, I'd be willing to start to leave, but I'd probably just say, hey, let's eliminate them quickly. It would just depend where my positioning was. I wouldn't have an issue with you going ahead in that situation, though, no.
Good choice.
Here I was trying to protect the healers. from the
Okay?
Tracer.
Yeah, you hear the tracer, that's fine. You could do the same thing to a Hammond. Just saying.
I think I've gotten pretty decent at scaring Hammonds off. I was
Okay.
pretty happy. Like usually push him into the bubble, try to get some headshots, and he'll
Good, good.
run away.
This is great. Angles are powerful. But now you're kind of stuck. Okay, so this is fine. We see what happened here. You're trying to go high ground. I don't know that I'm willing to sprint across this while this Hanzo is paying attention to me. Like, the jig is sort of up here, right? Where it's like, wait, I'm here. This is going on. I'm probably playing a little more, I'm going to use this, and I'm just going to accept that I'm going to use this, because while I'd love to take that space, I probably can't rotate right now. I just gave away that I'm here. It turns out, of course, the Zarya and the Hanzo are responding to the fact that you're here because you're the teammate in the most aggressive position. But your team is going to very quickly be able to push this way. And if you just wait for them while using this as best you can to hide yourself, once they actually get to here, then you could go, I'm going to abandon this team fight to rotate. Yes, I am talking rotate during the team fight, and potentially come from here, and you might get the jump on him or have a more fair fight, as opposed to this is just you're trying to rotate too early when it's too easy for them to pay attention to.
Yeah.
And you
I
don't have
noticed
heal
that a lot.
stations, so you can't even stabilize back here. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed I do that a lot. Like,
Onwards to
I
victory.
think I've got maybe. I mean, my execution isn't the best.
It's
I've got
timing.
a good idea of what I should be doing,
not a
but
Yeah.
Anymore.
the
It's
timing is really sometimes very off.
yes. And timing will come from better awareness of where your team is, what your team is doing, as well as what the enemy team is doing and where they are. So like, oh, I'm gonna guess that you just walked into a Sonic Hero here. So what's?
Better.
Yeah,
Yep, that's how that one works.
brutal. But shame on me.
All good, all good.
Dein Schutzengel ist da.
Knock me down and I'll keep getting back up.
Okay, so where are you going? High grounds? High grounds? Fine with me. Oh boy. Sure. Sure. Perfectly fine. Leave. Yep. Okay, you can go get the mega, and then are we just gonna come back here? I'd I'd probably just go right here right now and say, hey, what can I find from here, or what can I find from here, right? Like, I don't mind re-going high ground, but you were just there, and I'd kind of like the fresh... Oh, you do. Perfect. Okay. Are you guys in this fight?
It's a tough fight. There's only 3 of us. Bit of a bad. Yeah, there's not enough teammates.
Okay, cool.
Actually.
Then see if you can get a pick off without your visor. See if you can go, hey, Helix into pick off, that sort of thing. Because if you can, then potentially it becomes worth ulting into, right?
Because then
Okay.
it's like what, 5v3?
You sort of know the Ashe is up there. Well, there's 4 of you, including you, right? So if you can get a pick off, you'd force this into a 5v4 or a 4v5 from your perspective, and a 4v5 you're willing to ult into, right?
Yeah.
It's not amazing necessarily, but hey, ult from a good position in a 4v5, we'll take it. I'm probably not willing to ult into the 6v4. We talked about that as sort of a lost fight, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And it might not... Yeah, okay. So we look at that and go, okay, well, let's try to fish for our pickoff first then. Great. And now we could visor. We could see this and we could basically go, hey, if I've still got it all of a good angle, let's visor.
You got a lot to learn.
And if you visor, these guys are probably all going to pay attention to you except the Zarya, and the Zarya is probably going to get eliminated. Maybe not. Maybe the Ashe is going to help her out, but there we go. Turns out she didn't need the visor.
Got you in my
Sure.
Tag 'em and bag 'em.
Oh, this was a massive waste of time. I was shaking real hard here.
Oh yeah, it happened. Mercies do that to people. Putting the Mercy Beam on a target is just like, nope, now you're going to choke and can't hit them.
Yeah, I think this game was like, I realized how painful a Mercy Pocket is. If they didn't have a Mercy Pocket, I could just pop off the Ana, but you have to like land so much shots to even get through it.
Tactical necessity.
The payload has reached the check.
Good choice.
The Ashe here has just like stayed in the back line for so long.
Yeah, I mean, she was doing work from here. If her aim was better, it would have been very hard for you to win this fight because she could have done just as much work as you, right? Like, she was in this place where your team is pushing in here to fight the enemy team, and she's shooting from up here, and you've decided that, no, I'm not going to remove the Ashe, I'm instead going to play from here, also having a very similar angle, very different, but very similar in terms of difference in terms of the location, but relative to the fight, you have very similar angles, and you just happen to do more work. You see how that works? Like,
Yeah.
but this would have been a very hard fight this is a very hard fight for your team to win, with her getting to sit up there and shoot them in the back, but you were getting to shoot her team in the back and she just didn't hit enough shots. You know, that's gonna happen.
Do you think it was worthwhile to pick her off like at the end of the fight, or should I have just left her
Oh
there?
sure, we'll take her. We'll absolutely take her. I don't need her coming back when we don't expect her. We want it. We get a little bit of a stagger, and her team is sort of retreating right now. They wouldn't have to retreat as long if she was able to walk in, say, now, as opposed to waiting for her spawn. So
Yeah, she could like. She might have had Bob playing.
Heal up
Sure.
here.
Would have been a disaster. Yeah, I choked trying to fight the soldier to get that high ground on the left.
Oh, is that what's gonna happen? Okay.
Yeah.
The payload is approaching its destination.
Okay.
Yeah, and I.
You didn't
I
totally
interrupted
choke.
the reload.
This isn't totally choking. Like, this is you going, I'm rotating. And now, you know, you might go, hey, where do I reload? Because you could reload right now. You see nothing's on your screen. You don't necessarily expect anything to be on your screen. You do go for your reload now, which is appropriate. But then you cancel it for some reason. Yeah, and canceling it was the problem.
I thought it was
Done.
done because it was
Yep.
in the slot.
Yep.
But
So you'll just get better at that animation cancel. And we can rewatch it here just so that you see it. But
Payload is approaching its destination.
here, still says 8, still says 8. and it's in the slot, and I get why you think it's over, but you gotta wait just a touch longer. It's not quite like Anna's, where once it's in the slot, it's basically done. Sure, and you're kind of doomed. And the thing is, because you realize what happened here, this should have been, you needed to reload again. Like, you actually needed to reload as you continued to walk and circle up here to extend the time out of the fight. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
I try to visor into this.
Yeah. Not gonna work. You're just down too many people. But I get it. The Mercy res you, so she thinks it's a live fight. Or she's farming performance SR. Take your pick. At your expense, mostly.
Yeah. I think there was another... he switched to Junkrat.
Okay.
We didn't end up getting this point.
Okay.
Taking damage.
Oh, yeah.
Same angle as my McCree.
Right. You're here. Force back the Reinhardt. Or eliminated the Reinhardt, force back the Anna. It's time to take your angle, right? It's literally time to just sprint yourself through here. Because the fight is happening, but it's not fighting in some super explosive way. You might be going, oh, and Anna's happening. But is he swinging at anyone right now?
No.
No, the Reinhardt's already gone. So you use this time to rotate here, and then you just go, okay, what do I get from here? But all good. Sure. No, we don't need to repeat this. Okay. Okay. I mean, it's sort of an angle. Sure.
I'm surprised I didn't get killed there.
Me too.
Onwards to victory.
Okay, you know what I'm going to say about this healing station. If you
Yeah.
drop this healing station at the top of the stairs, you can sort of crouch on the stairs to get healed safely, but also have it for while you're fighting. Sure, this is just tough.
We still need
Like, you're going hard for the angle, but ultimately your team's lost a lot of people when you're on top of their spawn.
Engel ist da.
Sure. Oh, so close.
Yeah.
Okay.
30 seconds remaining.
I don't tolerate defeat. Get on the attack now. Move. Get to it.
Oh wait, you think I should have rotated now?
Yes.
To that corner?
I absolutely look at this and go, I don't want to brute force like this. I would be perfectly happy with you over here. This isn't particularly good positioning or high ground, but like, hey, at least it's different. At least it's different than what your team is doing and puts a little bit of, oh, hey, we'll pay a little bit more attention in that way. Maybe we'll spend a Sonic Arrow in that direction. Maybe we'll spend Reinhardt Shield in that direction. Maybe we'll spend Soldier's Attention in that direction. Anything to help your team break this, because your team isn't going to break this corner very well for pushing it straight on.
Yeah, it's kind of letting them, and it's letting them use that space freely.
Yep.
Like they don't have to.
Right.
Yeah,
This
I think.
Reinhardt can recharge his shield as much as he wants standing back here. That's not an option if you have the option of shooting at him, making him flinch and put it up so it stops recharging, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I think I got a bit in my own head because I was taking the angles on that last point and it wasn't working.
Got it.
Get over here.
Believe in the angles is what I would say. You won't always win. Sometimes they'll still out-muscle you, but they're a huge buff. Okay, and you just went down here. Oh, it's not going to let me fast forward because that's the end of the match. Okay, cool. So I look at this, and obviously I see a couple things. I see a couple things I'd want to focus in on, but what do you think you saw after going through this match?
I think the two biggest things I noticed were like my like angles and commitment to like overcommitting, like not staying by the cover.
Yeah, that's on my list. So I just
You
say in
think?
general use of cover where you don't need to be 3 steps away from the cover. You can be like 3/4 or even 1/4 behind the cover, right? Like you can shoot comfortably with cover. Like I can literally stand right here and shoot, and the cover's on my screen. Or if I want, I can close it like that and just shoot at that. But like I can stand like this with the cover on my screen, and I'm perfectly happy, right?
Do you think I could have pressured? Yeah, and I think my general awareness of the like my own team even is like
Yeah.
I had no awareness whatsoever that the I didn't even realize that Sigma was fluxing at that point,
Yep.
and it was really bad.
So we're gonna make
Uh,
this. Oh, go ahead.
I think I'm not too sure about like a second thing, like maybe like letting the other like letting my team fill their roles, trying to maintain an angle.
I think you've
Uh,
covered plenty. I wouldn't try to create a second thing here because I think you've already
mm,
covered multiple things and you just don't realize it. So, like, one specific thing for you to work on is play tighter on your cover. Don't play out here, play tighter on your cover until you've already won the team fights and you're trying to clean up. You can rotate and you're not going to have cover while you're rotating, but play tighter on your cover, play tighter on your cover, play tighter on your cover. I'm just doing this on third point because that's where we are. So playing tighter on your cover is a thing and something that you can work on, and it's pretty easy to work on and do. It's not going to be the thing that gives you the single biggest benefit, but it's pretty easy for you to work on and do. The thing that's going to give you the single biggest benefit, broadly speaking, would be um, engagement timing, understanding when you need to be pressuring the opponents versus when it's a good idea to rotate versus when it's a good idea to, oh wait, we won the team fight, I should go take high ground. So like what you should be doing when timing would be the single biggest thing, but that in itself is too big of a thing for you to work on, so we've got to break that down. And what I'd say there in terms of importance is I'd actually like you to more be looking at this from a perspective of after you've won fights, where can you go? Because timing has a lot of different aspects to it, and I don't want you to work on too much. So I instead want you specifically working on, hey, we won this fight. Now I should go take my high ground up here. Or hey, we won this fight. Now I should go take this angle over here and start doing this because I want to keep the pressure up on them. I want to keep the pressure up on them from over here, this sort of thing, as best as I can. So, like, I want this from a timing specifically of a, hey, we've done well in our fight, we've driven them back, and now I want to do this, but I don't want to challenge them 1v6, I don't want to challenge them 1v4. I might challenge 1 or 2 as they're coming back, but then I'm going to close the angle, and then I'm going to challenge them when my team is able to push. I'd
mm,
say that. And then I'd say you got to commit the ult sounds, and like the ult sounds just have to be bigger alerts for you, and you've got to work on making the ult sounds bigger alerts for you in terms of what they mean. Your team ulting is almost always going to mean open the angle and push. Does that make sense?
yeah, that makes sense.
And then
Uh,
go ahead.
yeah, go on. No, no, you
The
go.
final thing I'd give you, and I don't want to overwhelm you, and these should be one thing at a time, do not try to work on all of these at once, is you've got to watch those reload cancels. Because the reload cancels are getting you, not even just the reload cancels, you're doing some reloads in the open, you're doing some reload cancels. You've got to pay a little more attention to your actual reload. I'm hoping that that'll mostly solve itself, or somewhat partially solve itself, if you're playing cover a little bit tighter, and you become a little more conscious of when you're closing versus when you're partially opening it there. But I can't guarantee that it will. So if it's not fully gone after you've solved this cover thing, and I don't think it will be, working on the reloads so that you're not reloading with 22 ammo, reloading with 22 ammo in the open, that sort of thing. Um, I'm hoping that'll be less of an issue, or getting caught in soldier fights with 6 ammo. You get the idea.
Mm. Uh, would you say that playing the corner tighter would like probably be the first thing I should work on?
I'd say it's going to be one of the two easier things to work on. It and the reload
Mm,
thing are going to be easier than the timing. So I kind of want one easier one, then one bigger, broad concept one, and then another more easy mechanical, like, oh, it's sort of easy how defined this is. It's a little more conceptual and nebulous what timing looks like. So we broke down timing into a specific after one fights, immediately think about where you need to go to set up an angle. That shouldn't be too
yeah.
hard. There's going to be more to tackle in timing down the future. I could make 3 points entirely on timing, like we did. I could easily do that for you, but I'm not going to. I'm going to give you one thing on timing because timing's a more nebulous concept, a harder to wrap your brain around concept, and you have to get it, and it will pay big dividends as you get it. But we're going to have you get it one piece at a time here. Sound good?
Mm, yeah. Sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns, anything you want to get into?
Yeah. So like, how exactly do you know when you've actually won a team fight? Like, 'cause sometimes
Sure.
I think I've won a team fight, and then we end up like they'll get maybe a pick soon after,
Mhm.
and it's
Mhm. Game sense is the short answer, but the longer answer to
mm,
that is sometimes you're just wrong, right? Like as people get more consistent, team fights close out more consistently. So as people get better, team fights can close out more consistently. Um, but the rule of thumb I gave you earlier was if your team is up by two, the team fight is mostly won. But you flipped it to lost team fight, right? Like you flipped a
yeah.
lost team fight right back here, and that can happen. So, well, okay, there's more to it than just being up two. And that can be what does the positioning dictate? What are the resources? And that would be cooldowns,
Mm,
health, ults available. What do they dictate? And that's a greater game sense question, right? Of like, I know when a team fight is won. I can call a team fight won in a 6v6 when it's still a 6v6. And I can do that because I see what the positioning of the opponent of the two teams are. And I see that one team is already set up with three good, strong angles, and the other team has let themselves be forced into a small box, whatever, and it's still a 6v6, but I know how that team fight is going to go. You see what I'm saying? So, like, there's not a straight answer to this. The answer that you're going to go with is when you think your team is ahead enough that it's going to be very hard for the opponents to turn the fight. And it's what we do is we call it the team, we have like the poke/rotation phase, then we have the sort of like brawl or mid fight phase that most of us would think of as the team fight, and then we have the cleanup phase, which sort of leads into the stagger phase there. So the team fight is won once you're in the cleanup phase or the stagger phase, and you generally say, hey, we're cleaning up once you're up by two. But again, that's
mm,
not perfect. Make sense?
yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
Uh, and how would you say I've done since the last time we talked?
Oh, you did fine. We saw you got some good picks by going for your pick style, the pick thing that we were wanting there. And I do see you are going for angles. Sometimes your timing is wrong going for them, but you're going for the good picks and you're getting some of them. You're taking good angles. This is what we want to see. I'm happy with what we're seeing here.
Cool.
Cool. Cool. Okay, then let's go like